say?
Right. So I'm saying what is discussed in Bhagavad Gita. We narrated a lot of stories, right? How there was a dynamics in terms of Mahabharata background diya tha humne, and so many other things. But I'm saying what is being discussed in chapter 1. So I sorry Priya, you were going on the right track when you said Duryodhana approached Dronacharya, and when he approached Dronacharya, what did they speak? Is what I'm trying to know from you all, which is up till Sloka 19. Beyond that, they to please Duryodhan, Bhishma blew his conch shell, and post that there is a discussion how Arjuna is basically in a position of victory because of all these different signs, and they also blew their conch shell, right? And then something happened later on.
Okay,
That,
so the earlier part was Drishtidyumna. He was holding Guru Dronacharya responsible that he trained him, and the military was the whole thing was arranged so well. And then you think there was blowing of the conch shell.
So when he spoke of how the military was arranged well, what did he describe?
Did he describe?
Yeah, there are several shlokas talking about what. Can you see this? What I'm
It was his own family, his own means his own family was there. So there was a lot of compassion within his heart.
No, not
to
Arjuna.
actually get into.
I'm saying when Duryodhan went up to Dronacharya, right? What did they speak? He first of all accused him or taunted him, saying that, oh, the military formation is so expertly arranged by your disciple,
Right.
Drishtadyumna, correct? And he was taunting, and then he went on to describe this.
The strength of the Pandavas battle.
Correct.
Their strength. Who are the people like Arjuna, the Bhima, and the other warriors who were there? He was talking about the strength of the Pandavas.
So he offered a token appreciation to all the people who were on the side of the Pandavas, saying that, oh, we should be careful, we should be vigilant because the enemy is formidable also. And he mentioned a few names. And then what he did after mentioning few names on the enemy side, what did he do?
I think he was very diplomatic after that, stating that that you are there and nothing can go wrong and everyone will surround. He told the others also. He made Guru Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama happy at the same time, so no one feels offended. So diplomatically, he put it up, right?
Yes, he mentioned a lot of warriors from his side, starting with Drona and Bhishma, and then he also to encourage everyone on the battlefield so that they don't feel कि अरे हमारा तो नाम ही नहीं लिया, right? He kind of very diplomatically said that everyone is very very important because grandfather Bhishma, he might be engaged on one side, an enemy may try to attack him from the other side. So everyone needs to be well positioned in their strategic locations to give protection to grandfather Bhishma, right? So then there was basically blowing of the conch shells, which Bhishma Dev blew the conch shell, and it was pleasing to Duryodhan. And then after blowing of conch shell from Bhishma's side or the Kaurava's side, what happened? What happened after that?
I think then Arjuna went across to the other side just to see who were the people whom he's actually going to battle with.
Right. So even the Pandavas blew their conch shells and their conch shell names, etc., are given.
Yeah.
And then Arjuna asked Krishna to take his chariot in the middle of the two armies to see who has come to fight. Post that, what happened?
Arjuna felt bad when he saw his. I'm right.
He saw, yeah, you're going right, Kavita.
He saw his relatives, his friends, all are against them, and he was was scared to fight with them. He was feeling bad to fight with them.
Was he scared?
Scared?
He didn't want to fight
He
with
was
his own
driven more
brothers.
by compassion, I think.
Okay, one at a time. Subramaniam, Prabhu, you can.
He didn't want to fight against his own brothers and relatives and his own gurus. So he was intent to fight with his own relatives and the brothers.
Correct. So Krishna took his chariot in front of whom?
In the middle?
In the middle of the battlefield,
Battlefield, yeah.
but right in front of whom? इसको देख करके he was like feeling so compassionate.
Pitamaha Bhishma,
Yes, and
Guru Dronacharya.
Dronacharya. Yes.
Dronacharya.
So these are the two personalities very, very close to Arjuna. And Krishna very smartly took the chariot in the middle of the army, but at the position where Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya are right in front of him. And then, of course, like Sujata mentioned, that he felt compassionate. And then what happened?
You had mentioned his skin was burning, his
Yes.
body was shivering, the Gandiva was slipping off his hand,
Correct.
and there were tears of compassion in his
Correct. So compassion was the first reason for him to not fight. What are some other reasons then Arjuna started giving to Krishna?
He said, why should I have this kingdom after killing all my own relatives? I don't want this kingdom, Krishna.
Correct.
I don't want to fight. What will I do with this kingdom after killing all my own relatives? You know, those kind of things.
Correct. So no enjoyment. How will I enjoy if all my family members are dead? So compassion was the first reason. No enjoyment was the second. What is the third reason for not fighting?
There'll be irreligion, unwanted progeny.
That was the fourth one. What is the third one?
That he is doing a sin by killing his.
Yes. Sinful reaction. Sin will overcome us, he says. Right? So sin. And then fourth one. Yeah, you just mentioned fourth one.
Irreligion and unwanted progeny.
Yes. So unwanted progeny, Varna Shankara he mentioned. Varna Shankara is destruction of family tradition, pollution of women, and unwanted progeny. Yes. And then there is a last reason which he gives, which is part of the second chapter actually. Okay. So basically this was chapter 1 where Arjuna it's called as Arjuna Vishad Yoga. So Arjuna basically is lamenting, right? It's a chapter where Arjuna laments. So after blowing up the conch shell, Duryodhana first of all approaching Dronacharya, describing everything, and then they are ready to fight, and Bhishma blows his conch shell. Then all the Kauravas blow their conch shell. The Pandavas also blow their conch shell. Then Arjuna is taken in the middle of the army by Krishna, and because Arjuna is very, very confident and he's ready to fight, and he wants to assess the strength of the enemy, but then he looks at Dronacharya and Bhishma Dev, and he's then filled with compassion, and he starts giving these different reasons for not fighting. So overall, that's the chapter 1, and towards the end of the chapter, Arjuna sets aside his bow and arrow and sits despondent, lamenting, and from there is where we get on to chapter 2. So you want to quickly go through the translations? I think that'll be easier for this week. Let's go through the translations.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone can see my screen, or at least should have a copy of Bhagavad Gita in their hand, so that everyone can follow. So how we'll do this is, okay, if we all can chant in sync, I think that'll be the best. Otherwise, if it's not going in sync, then probably I'll speak first and then you repeat. So if there is no internet lag and we can all chant together, that's the best, because that'll be easier in a flow. Okay, so let's try that first. Okay, text 1. Everyone together. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yudhana, Virat, and Drupada. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, and Shaibya. There are the mighty Yudha Manyu, the powerful Uttamauja, the son of Subhadra and sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. There are the personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and son of Somadatta called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in the battle. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in the military science. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. All of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Everyone can read on their own with the mic mute. I think that works. It's easier to kind of understand. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called the Panchajanya, Arjuna blew his the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundara. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell Ananta Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sughosh and Manipushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadumna, Virata, and the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrow. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and all his father-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Kesi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-laws, grandsons, brother-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. An increase in the unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Alas, how strange is it that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in the hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Okay, so everyone was able to follow, or I was too fast?
No, it was fine, Prabhuji.
Okay. So hopefully next time we can go through the shlokas, and you guys can also be on. You can be unmute, and we can all chant together the shlokas of the first chapter. So we will start with the second chapter today. Okay. Before we get on to the second chapter, I'll quickly summarize what the second chapter is, just like a quick overview. So what we did right now, I think is a very, very good exercise, and it hardly took 15 minutes. So it becomes very easy for you to kind of remember what is there in a particular chapter. So I would really strongly recommend, if every day you can actually have a practice of spending 15 minutes or 20 minutes and go over just the translations so that you understand what is happening in the chapter, right? Later on, if we are very, very familiar and we can go over the shlokas also on a daily basis, that's great. It'll also help you remember the shlokas very easily. Your pronunciation, etc., will be very, very clear, and you'll basically be familiarized with all the shlokas. So yeah, take it up as a practice. In fact, there is a group called chapter a day, right? So people chant Bhagavad Gita one chapter every day, right? Some people do it just with the shlokas, some people do just with translations, and some people even do it with the purports, which takes a lot of time. But at least for us, we can spend 15 to 20 minutes on a daily basis, chanting each one chapter. Or if you want, you can actually chant one chapter for 1 week and then take up the next chapter for the second week. So like this, what is happening in a particular chapter becomes fixed in your mind. And anytime you want to quote something, you want to remember something while talking to someone, you can easily do. If not the shlokas, at least the translation you will remember very easily. Is that something we can do?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So chapter 2, basically, like I said, it starts with the pretext that in the previous chapter, Arjuna is completely despondent. He's given up his bow and he's sitting down lamenting on his chariot. So chapter 2, essentially, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes how chapter 2 is actually the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And even Srila Prabhupada kind of gives the title of Contents of Gita Summarized. So chapter 1 is Observing the Armies. Chapter 2 is Contents of Gita Summarized. So here in this chapter, the last reason for not fighting Arjuna gives. We'll come to that. And then Krishna starts speaking. So Krishna, he basically Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, and Krishna assumes the role of a teacher. And then as a teacher, he chastises Arjuna. And then he starts off with the science of soul. He basically tries to give arguments. So in the entire Bhagavad Gita is nothing but Krishna answering Arjuna's arguments, answers to all the arguments Arjuna had put forward. So Arjuna gave 5 arguments. We discussed 4 already. The 5th one will come in this beginning of this chapter. And Krishna is essentially answering or giving a reply to these 5 arguments in the entire Bhagavad Gita. And chapter 2 is almost like a summary where Krishna actually gives answers to all the arguments. But then from chapter 3 onwards, there is a confusion and Arjuna wants Krishna to elaborate. And again, it's for our benefit. Arjuna would have easily understood, or for that matter, Arjuna never wanted to, would have never needed to ask those questions had Krishna not put him in illusion for some point in time, for some time, for the benefit of us. So here, basically, Arjuna then deep dives into each and everything, which becomes the following chapters, which is chapter 3 onwards, like that. So basically here, Krishna starts describing the difference between body and soul. He kind of asks Arjuna that he should fight on the platform of his duty, that it'll lead to infamy, etc., if he doesn't fight. Then he tries to explain to him from a spiritual perspective, Nishkam Karma Yoga, and then raising slowly and steadily to Buddhi Yoga, and finally, he talks about liberations, etc., also from the material entanglement through Buddhi Yoga, and then how to kind of perform those things becomes the prelude to chapter 3. So as an overall summary, this is what happens in chapter 2. And let's deep dive into chapter 2, starting from shloka number 1. Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Tam
Tata Kripaya Vishtam.
tata kripaya vishtam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Ashru purna kulekshanam.
Sidantam idam vakyam.
Idam vakyam.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
Yuvacha madhusudanaha.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words.
Right. So Sanjay is basically describing this to Dhritarashtra, that Arjuna was completely depressed and he had cast aside his bow, and he was sitting despondent on his chariot. So Dhritarashtra must have been very, very happy, right? And Srila Prabhupada describes here in the purport that material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of real self. So, although so there are two kind of voices here, and Prabhupada is describing how Arjuna is feeling compassion. That's the sign of a great devotee. How Arjuna is willing to give up his kingdom and he doesn't want to, enjoy something which is tainted with the blood of his family members. So these are all signs of his renunciation or his compassion. These are all qualities, godly qualities, which are there because he's a devotee. But then he's also talking about how it's material compassion at the end of the day, misplaced compassion. And again, it's because, Krishna wants him to, be in illusion. So material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. And here, I think later on, Prabhupada also gives, or here only actually, compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. So here he's trying to tell us that it's not so it's not so intelligent just to show compassion for a dress, right? And I think we've given this example earlier, but just like if there is a man who is drowning and someone who's an expert swimmer goes up to the man, swims and goes up to the man and catches his shirt and then comes out and all he has is his shirt, right? So that's useless. The man is still drowning. But if he saves the person, the shirt he's wearing is automatically saved. So Arjuna here is showing compassion for the material dresses or bodies of his relatives, whereas he's not really showing the compassion for the soul. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out here. And Krishna is also will be pointing out in the consecutive verses. So, yeah. And here, okay, let's go to the next verse. I think that's where Krishna starts speaking. So, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagwan Uvacha.
Kutastva Kashmalamidam.
Kutastva Kashmalam Idam.
Vishame Samupastitam.
Vishame Samupastitam.
Anarya Jushtam Asavargyam.
Anarya Justam Asavargyam.
Akirti Karma Arjuna.
Akirti Karma Arjuna.
Okay, this is a very, very important verse. You can actually try and memorize this one. So you can mark it for memorization. Whenever you guys are, trying to self-read or have your, reading groups. This is an important one you can try and memorize. Okay. So let's chant this one more time. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagwan Uvacha.
Kutastva Kashmalamidam.
Kutastva Kasmalam Idam.
Vishame Samupastitam.
Vishame Samupastitam.
Anarya Jushtam Asavargyam.
Anarya Justam Asavargyam.
Akirti Karma Arjuna.
Akirti Karma Arjuna.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy."
Right. So seeing Arjuna in that condition, Krishna is now starting to speak, and he's so Sanjay is basically addressing that now Krishna start beginning to speak, and he's referring to Krishna as Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, right? So you'll find a lot of places where this comes Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. And Srila Prabhupada, he establishes, by saying Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical, right? Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagwan. And he goes on to kind of describe, it's a very long purport, he goes on to describe multiple aspects of the absolute truth. Like for example, he is quoting Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdite. So Srila Prabhupada, right in the beginning, right, He's establishing through his purpose that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We also saw this exactly in the introduction, where Srila Prabhupada is requesting the reader to at least, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the basic premise for understanding Bhagavad Gita. And even if someone is not able to accept it immediately, at least theoretically, he should accept. Otherwise, he won't have any understanding of Bhagavad Gita at all, right? So here, being Bhakti Vedanta, right? Srila Prabhupada is known as Bhakti Vedanta. He's immediately establishing that how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's also giving how the Absolute Truth is understood in these three different features. So the Absolute Truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the Absolute Truth. All of them are identical. Such phases of Absolute Truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So anyone remembers, we've discussed this at least 5-6 times till now. So what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, and what is Bhagwan?
Can I try?
Yes, please.
Bhagwan is the one who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he resides in Goloka Vrindavan. Paramatma is the part of Lord Krishna that is in our heart. And the Brahman is just the effulgence that is coming out of the Goloka Vrindavan.
Okay. So, yes, that's absolutely correct. Brahman effulgence is nothing but effulgence of the body of Krishna. So, the Absolute Truth is actually understood by different people in, these three features. Some may understand that, oh, God is just some light or some energy. That is Brahman realization. The other understanding is God is everywhere. He's in every atom. He's in everyone's heart. That is Paramatma realization. And God is a person. He's actually a personality. And you can have a very sweet, loving relationship with him is Bhagwan realization. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to describe in this purport the definition of Bhagavan. This is also something we discussed during the 3 days course of Bhagavad Gita. So what is the definition of Bhagavan? Anyone? What do you mean by Bhagavan?
Well, one can have loving reciprocation with the Lord.
So you must have heard this, that, God cannot be defined. Is that correct? Can God be defined or not? Oh, it's a simple yes or no answer.
What cannot be defined?
You're saying cannot be defined. Okay. What are other opinions? Who all agree that God cannot be defined? Please raise your hands. Virtually or on video. Okay. Shantala says he cannot be defined.
Can I say?
Sorry?
Bhagwan is someone who is having 64 qualities.
Yes.
Now, should I give the 64 list? I mean,
64 थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो जाएगा.
all qualities, the maximum beauty, all beautiful, all tolerance. There are so many.
Yes. So, yes, there are so many qualities, true. But then Parashar Muni, who is the father of Vyasadeva, he has very kindly given us a definition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he can be defined, and not by us because we are limited in our intelligence and experience. But Parashar Muni, who's basically father of Vyasadeva, he's defined Bhagavan, and the word Bhagavan is Bhagavan. It's divided into two. So it means owner of 6 opulences. I see the word 6 written behind Kavita on a board. So yes, Bhagavan means owner of 6 opulences. Is it 6 or is it a peacock there? I don't know. It looks like a 6.
No, it's a peacock, sir.
Achha. Okay. Yeah, interesting. So yeah. So what are the 6 opulences? Anyone? Abhi kisi ko yaad aa raha ho to, what are the 6 opulences? We had discussed this during the 3 days course of Bhagavad Gita. And otherwise also, I think, in many classes.
What are the 6, what you said? Bhagwan
What are the 6 opulences of God?
Opulence.
Definition of Bhagwan, 6 opulences. Okay, I'll give it away since no one. So he's all famous,
Okay.
all rich.
All rich.
Yes. What are the other 4?
It's beauty, knowledge, rich, intelligence, and famous.
Yes. And
Wealthy.
Powerful.
powerful.
Wealthy.
Yes, sorry.
Wealthy.
Yes, wealthy.
Strength.
Strength.
Fame.
Fame.
Renunciation.
Renunciation.
And beauty.
Beauty. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyone who has, even one of these opulences, thoda moda, he's very, very attractive. Ambani is very attractive, right? Mike Tyson is very attractive because of his strength. Some famous film stars very attractive because of their beauty. So all of these individually also in minute quantity as well attracts. So God, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is someone who is all attractive, who's having all these opulences in full. Not just one, all 6 of them in full. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to describe that what Brahmaji concludes, right? Brahmaji says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Right? So he's describing that how Ishvara Parama Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? There are many personalities possessing qualities of Bhagwan, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because no one can excel him. He's a supreme person. His body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Satchid Ananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, Anand is bliss. So his body is not material body made of 5 elements, but his body is Sat, Chit and Anand. He is the premeable Lord, Govinda. Premeable means Anadir Adir. Anadi means he is endless. Adir means he is the origin of everything. He is the Adi of everything. Right? He is the beginning of everything or source of everything, and he doesn't have any end. So God is unlimited and he doesn't have a beginning. There was no point in time where Krishna came into existence. Right? Krishna is already there, already existing, Anadi Kalse, right? And there is no anta, there is no end, right? Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So he is the cause of all causes. So Brahma, he is actually glorifying Krishna in Brahma Samhita. This shloka is from Brahma Samhita. Again, very, very important one. People who are doing, who want to memorize this, is one of the very famous shlokas of Brahma Samhita. You can go ahead and memorize this, right? So Brahmaji is describing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is also describing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Padma Puran. And then in Bhagavatam also, in Padma Puran, he says, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So he's describing it to Uma or Parvati. And then in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna himself is, clarifying, or in Bhagavatam is basically being declared that Etecham Shakala Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mrityanti Yuge Yuge. So it's described that all incarnations are just Etecham Shakala Pumsa. They are either an expansion or a part of the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And he is the original source of everything. Therefore, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada is establishing this right in the beginning, as soon as Krishna starts speaking the Bhagavad Gita. Now, the other part of the shloka is Kutastva Kashmalamidam, where from these impurities or impotences come into you, right? Vishamesam upastita. They are not befitting a man who knows the value of life, right? Anarya Jushtam. So this word Arya means a man who understands the value of life, or a man who understands the process or the path of liberation. So this Arya word is very, very famous, you must have heard. And we were taught in history some wrong information that how there was. So basically what happened was when the Britishers came to India, they actually saw how rich our culture is, how scientific our culture is, and so many things which still till today the scientists are unable to kind of understand were already done and created in the past by our ancestors. So they saw this is the topmost civilization. Even the Germans, they saw this is the topmost civilization because the kind of technology we have produced, or the kind of ways and means and medicines, etc., that we have, or even our scriptures for that matter, are so rich in information, and they're all scientific. When they saw all of this, what did they do? They created a theory, Aryan invasion. Actually, the Aryans belong to Europe. And, a point in time in history, Aryans invaded India, and thereby some of them stayed back and ruled. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to establish actually the Indians are, duffers. They don't know anything. They are saying Arya, even their scriptures, even their technology, all was, got by Europeans, because they are the original Aryans and they invaded India at a certain point in time. And therefore, some of the Aryans have stayed back and the culture has also percolated into India. I'm sure you must have come across this in your school time or even now in current syllabuses, the Aryan invasion theory. So yeah, that's what it is. So Krishna is questioning, Aryan means basically a civilization based on spiritual realization. This is no, so here the word Aryan applicable to a person who knows the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. So non-Aryan basically do not understand or don't have the knowledge of how they can liberate themselves from the material world. Right? That's also described in the purport. So Arjuna, being belonging to the Kshatriya class, was deviating from his duty to fight, and therefore Krishna is addressing him. How can you act like a coward, and not fight or decline to fight? Right? This compassion, Krishna is not approving his compassion. Like we discussed in the previous class, even Lord Ramchandra, who is supremely compassionate, even he took up arms against Ravana, right? Because it was required to establish dharma. So Arjuna's compassion is basically misplaced. Okay. 2.3. Klebyamma smagama partha.
Labhyam patra.
Naitat tvai upapadyate.
Naitat tvai upapadyet.
Upapadyate.
Natvat tvai upapadyet.
Padyate.
Upapadyate.
Shudram hridaya daurbalyam.
Shudram hridaya daurbalyam.
Tattvotishtha parantapa.
Vakyotishva parantapa.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
Read it. O son of Partha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such pretty weakness of heart and rise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Chastiser of enemy.
Chastiser of the enemy.
So Arjuna was addressed as Partha, who happened to be Krishna's father, sister of Krishna's father. So basically, Krishna's aunt's son was Arjuna, right? Kunti was Krishna's Bua. So Krishna is trying to establish that, look, you are related to me, through the bloodline, right? And how can you, show such petty weakness of heart? So Krishna is trying to tell him that, you belong to a great family. Your father, was really, really great. And you're on the mother's side also, you're actually connected to someone who's from a very great family, and they're also connected to me directly, right? So how can you yield to such degrading impotence? It's actually showcasing impotence or cowardice, right? So he cannot decline to fight, or he. It's not expected from someone like him to show such petty weakness of heart, and it's basically because of the family attachment a lot of times people do a lot of wrong things or commit sinful activities also just because of their families, right? So this is what is not expected from a personality like Arjuna. So he need not be like an unworthy son of a Kshatriya, but and not that he's Arjuna is saying that, oh, I am actually renouncing fighting on the grounds of my magnanimous nature or attitude towards Bhima and Bhishma and other relatives. But Krishna is not approving that. He's in fact calling it weakness of heart essentially. And in fact, here we also understand how like our independence movement, right? It was Gandhiji, non-violence, right? Actually, the Britishers were driven away not just by a non-violent movement of Gandhi. They were actually driven away when Subhash Chandra Bose with the what was that? What army? Indian Army. Which was the Indian Army? I forgot the name. Yes, anyone remembers?
Azad Hind Force.
Azad Hind Force, correct. So when he was about to attack India with the with Britishers in India with his Azad Hind Force, that is what was giving the Britishers nightmare, because they were fighting World War on one side, and on the other side, Subhash Chandra Bose with all these people, 150,000 soldiers, were about to attack. That is the time where they decided, okay, we cannot maintain this territory anymore, and they decided to give it up. वो हो जाता है ना कि sorry, let the screen pass. Okay, so it is just like, right now I am about to lose, so let me show that, oh, I am just giving it up, out of consideration of what you've been saying. वैसा हो गया. So it's not that they they agreed to our Mahatma Gandhi non-violent movement, but they actually were forced out because of the imminent attack which was supposed to happen. So and in fact they were very happy with Gandhi. So they were like, okay, this man is good because ये जितना भी करते रहे हमारा movement चलता रहेगा, right? So violence also has its utility. Non-violence, of course, is great, right? One should practice non-violence, but violence also has its own utility. So you cannot apply non-violence in a place where violence is actually needed. And that's what Krishna is kind of telling Arjuna, that look, we've tried every possible way of settling this through dialogue. It's not happening, right? And the kind of things that they went through. And it's not just about the Pandavas, what they went through, but it's also about the entire world. Dharma is to be established, and these people are on the path of irreligion. And when Krishna is personally instructing, then there should remain no doubt that yes, I should do this, and not show petty weakness of my family members are there, etc., right? So when there is so much clarity, so much things happen to them, the entire rule of the Duryodhana is not good for the population. All the irreligious kings are on the side of Duryodhana, and they are supposed to be wiped out by Krishna. So, and Krishna is personally instructing, so it is absolutely clear, right? All right. So and just to give an example, violence has its own utility. So Hanuman, when he went to Lanka, he tried to talk to Ravan, saying that please surrender to Ram, give up Mother Sita, and surrender. He did not listen, and in fact, he tried to set his tail on fire, right? So he burned the entire Lanka in anger, right? And it was not indiscriminate burning. He did not burn Ashok Vatika, which chalo Sita Maiya ko bhi jala tha, aisa nahi tha. He was very, very intelligent. He utilized his anger in a proper way in service of the Lord, right? So anger is actually a quality in the Lord. Krishna, he is having all qualities in absolute form. And we, being part and parcel of God, we also have all these qualities, but in minute quantity. Which means that Krishna is having anger, and his anger is on the absolute platform. When Krishna is killing a demon, right, his anger and his mercy are on the same level. That's the absolute nature of Krishna's anger. Which means that when he kills a demon, the demon is also liberated. The devotees or people are struggling for liberation, doing so many things. Even when demons come and attack, and Krishna is killing them personally, they are liberated. So Krishna's anger and mercy are, almost seem to be the same in this scenario, right? So it's his anger is on the absolute platform. Our anger is not like that. Our anger is not, equal to our mercy. It may destroy someone, right? Not that, oh, uska udhar ho jayega. So we have all the qualities present in Krishna, but in minute quantity. And there are people who might say, "Arey, itne bade sadhu hai, kabhi gussa nahi aata hai," right? So that's actually someone putting up a show, because anger is a quality in the Lord. It's a quality even in the sadhu. In fact, a sadhu is known. One of the meanings of the word sadhu is to cut. Right? It cuts the material attachment of people through his sharp words. So he can be, very, very heavy while talking, and he can show his anger in the right place. So it is said that utility of anger. So anyone who is blaspheming the Lord, who's insulting the Lord and his devotees, one should not tolerate. Right? There you can showcase your anger. That's the right place to direct your anger. In fact, to a point, it is said that if someone is insulting the Lord or his devotee, one should do three things. If one is intelligent and good in speech, one should defeat the person in argument and smash and thrash him left, right, and center in argument so that he doesn't speak up, right? Or if he is not able to do that, if he is bodily powerful, he's having enough strength. If he's a Kshatriya, he should actually pick up a sword and cut the person's tongue. Or if he's unable to do any of these two things, he should just walk away from the place, but not continue hearing the insult to the Lord or his devotees. So that's the right utility of anger. Right? And even in case of Arjuna, when the entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Arjuna was not smiling and shooting arrows. Krishna has killed all of them. Let me just shoot arrows and do my job. No, he was angry. He was very, very angry on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he was fighting. But he was remembering the Lord at all points in time. Right? So anger also has its own utility. Any questions till this point? Should we move ahead?
Yes.
Okay. Arjuna Vacha.
I have a question.
Yes, sorry. Go on.
Sorry. You said Arjuna was fighting with anger. Initially, why was he fighting with anger? Because there was so much compassion. So then...
Not initially, like I said, after Bhagavad Gita was spoken, the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the battle began after that, na?
Yeah, yes, but why was he fighting with anger?
Because to fight, anger is required. Like I said, you cannot smile and fight, right? It doesn't work.
He was in the battlefield.
Yeah, doesn't work like that. If you're doing something aggressive, you cannot remain in the mode of goodness and keep smiling and not be angry, right? Does that answer your question?
Yes, I can understand. Not really, but I'll understand over a period of time.
No, so our conception or our perception ki अरे devotee मतलब उसके तो चार सींग निकल आने चाहिए, right? You should be floating in air, doing inhuman things. No. When someone is self-realized, it's not that कुछ ऐसा जादू जैसा दिखेगा. We are expecting magic. That's our problem, right? One has to understand that devotee means shift in attitude or shift in consciousness, that he's doing the same thing, going through the same emotions probably, but he's doing it for the Lord.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
His wife was also stripped naked, right? That anger was there. The whole family was, there were so many schemes to kill them. So I guess initially that anger was there. But then Krishna explained to him, you have to do this out of duty, not out of enjoyment for kingdom or anything else.
Yeah. So in the beginning, they were ready to fight. The reason they came to fight, like rightly said, was, okay, these guys are not willing to listen. And there was a lot of anger, Bhima especially, Bhima, Arjuna, both of them were like waiting for an opportunity to, fulfill their vows. They'd taken so many vows. So yes, there was anger, and but then later on, they also considered the higher principle. Just for our sake, why should we have so many people killed? And therefore, there were multiple level talks trying to, diffuse the situation and make them give their kingdom back so that they can still, let go and, continue ruling peacefully. But then when even that was not agreed upon, there was no other option but to fight. And in fighting, of course, one cannot, like I said, uh, not have anger. Right? Only Krishna can not have anger in the battlefield, or even he displayed anger rather. Even he displayed anger. So, although we are going through these emotions or experiences, bodily experiences also, at the end of the day, what is the main goal or consciousness? Or in fact, it's said that even somebody who's actually uh, you know may not experience someone who's in our day-to-day life, someone who's going through the regular experiences may not be always conscious while working, oh, I'm doing this for Krishna, may not primarily be at every point in time conscious that, oh, I'm making this Excel sheet for the pleasure of Krishna. So that 100% being conscious at all points in time and remembering may not be there. But even overall, if I understand that, okay, I am going to work or I am doing this particular activity for the pleasure of the Lord, and I offer the results to the Lord, is still considered as devotional service. Is still considered as uttam bhakti in one sense also, that at least my what do you call, my intention, overall intention is to serve the Lord. I understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My overall intention is to serve the Lord. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
So I think I'll relate this to your chapter 1, where you said the desire to serve Lord is more than the capacity to serve Lord, where you're empowered. Something
Correct.
like that.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I add something?
Yes, please.
I feel that anger while fighting is a natural
Exactly. Yeah.
human response. In the
Correct.
sense, it is a reflex that we automatically get into that mood, I feel.
So there are two things there. One is anger without any control, right? Which is just a reflex, like you just mentioned. Whereas on the other hand, I understand that here are people who've basically offended Vaishnavas, right? So even if Arjuna is thinking of his own account, ki theek hai, mere ko kiya chalega, right? But then all his brothers, they're all devotees, right? All the other people, the other party is fighting on the side of Adharma, and Krishna is personally saying, ki, kill these people. So why wouldn't I have anger? So that is controlled anger. That is having control over anger and channelizing that anger in the right direction. That's what we also need to learn and do.
So it's anger with intelligence.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Knowing properly that what we are doing and what we are saying is actually meant to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like Hanumanji, I said, na, he did not burn everything. Chalo sabhi jala deta hu Lanka mein. Right? He would have burned Ashok Vatika also. He carefully avoided that so that the fire doesn't even go there and burned everything else. That is anger with intelligence, punishing the person who's offended the Vaishnavas or
Yes.
the Lord.
Yeah. Thank you.
Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna Vacha
Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhye
Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhye
Dronam Madhusudana
Dronam cha Madhusudana
Ishubhi Pratiyotsami
Ishubhiva Pratiyosami
Ujarva Arisudana.
Ujarva Arisudana.
So when Krishna, okay, first let's read the translation. I was directly trying to explain. Yeah, please, anyone who wants to read the translation?
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in the battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
So, very, very interesting words, Arjuna is using. So Arjuna starts, so immediately when Krishna says, you're just acting like an anarya, right? Someone who doesn't understand the value of life, and this is just weakness of heart. And, why you don't give into this degrading importance. When he said all these words, right? Just like, you go to a friend and like, "Arey, ye mere se nahi ho raha hai." They will say, "Arey, you pagal hai, ye kya kar raha hai? Do this, and, it's good like that. Or you should not think like this." They would give advice like that, friendly advice like that. So after hearing that, Arjuna is saying, "Oh, killer of enemies, oh, killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of worship?" So when he is addressing Krishna, right, as Arisudana means killer of enemies. So just see how beautifully the words are chosen. He's like, Krishna, you're the killer of enemies, but you're asking me to not kill enemies, but kill my relatives, Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship. And he's in a way indicating, will you kill Sandipani Muni? Or will you kill, who's the other guru? I forgot. Will you kill your grandfather Ugrasen? Right? Prabhupada is mentioning here. Right? So Arjuna is basically placing such kind of an argument. And these people are worthy of worship. And in the purport, Prabhupada describes how respectable people and elders, particularly like teachers, fathers, grandfathers, etc., even if they attack, should not be counteracted. It's a general etiquette that superiors should not be offered even a verbal fight. So that is the kind of etiquette that was followed at the time, when Mahabharata was happening, right? Or that was at least the expected etiquette. And we see from the time of Mahabharata how Duryodhana, who was actually Kali personified, Kali Yuga personified. So he started breaking this etiquette from that point in time, and immediately that was end of Dwapar Yuga, beginning of Kali Yuga. So of course, that was kind of expected. But even during that time, the etiquette was that we should not even offer a verbal fight. And in general, even now, that should be the case, that should not counteract or even offer heavy verbal fights to someone who's an elder or who's respectable, right? Even if they are harsh to us. Yeah. Next one. Gurun hatva himanubhavan.
Gurur ahatva
Manubhava
Shreyo bhuktum bhaiksham api haloke.
Shreyo bhuktam bhaiksham apitaloke.
Hatvartha kamamstu gurun ihaiva.
Hatvartha kamashtu gurun ihaiva.
Bhunjiya bhoganudhira pradigdan.
Bhunjiya bhogan udhira pradigraha.
Translation, anyone wants to read?
Shall sir, I'll read.
Yeah.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superior. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Tainted with blood. Right.
Tainted.
So again, the same argument that how can we enjoy anything at the cost of lives of such great souls as teachers and gurus and grandfathers, right? And even if they are on the wrong side, they are desiring worldly gains, but they are superiors. So if we kill them, everything will be tainted with blood. We won't be able to enjoy anything. Whatever we try to enjoy, we will just remember that the blood of my grandfather and teacher is mixed in this. So how can we accept anything like that, right? So that's again, he is trying to give more arguments like this. Let's see the next one. And he is even mentioning, if they are not able to discriminate what is good and bad, at least we can discriminate, right? So why should we indulge in such things? Na chaitad vidama kartara no gariyo.
Na chaitad vidama
Nachaitad
kataranno
vidamakaryo
garyo.
Yadva jayeyam yadiva na jayeyu.
Yadva
Yadvajayena
jayema yadi navano
Yadvanajayo
jayeyu.
Yane vahatva na jijiviva vishamas.
Yane
Yan
Mahatma
eva hatvana
Vishwamas
jijiv tamas.
Te avastita pramukhe dhartarastara.
Devasastha
Devastita
Brahmke
pramukhe
Dhartarashtra.
dhritarashtra.
Translation. Anyone wants to read the translation quickly?
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Right. So again, here we see how he's confused. He's again like, I don't know what is better, being conquered by them or conquering them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing on the battlefield before us. So he's thoroughly confused. What should be done, right? To fight, to not fight, to kill them, to be killed by them. What is better? He doesn't know, and he's ready to live by begging, right? He's ready to live, go to the forest and live by begging rather than killing his own kinsmen. So Prabhupada writes, it is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge, and without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. Arjuna was competent in all these attributes over and above his enormous attributes in material relationships. So we can see how this is basically he is displaying his quality of renunciation, right, and his quality of compassion, and he's actually seeking advice by having this conversation with Krishna. So therefore, it is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Although he's already liberated, he's already a Nitya Siddha or eternal associate of the Lord. But he's displaying a behavior or qualities which is fit for liberation. Right? We'll quickly do the next 2 or 3 verses. I wanted to finish till 2.10 so that this is basically a section, and next one we can start from the next week. Is it okay if we take 10 more minutes? Or anyone here who's in a hurry?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava.
Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava.
Prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta.
Pritchami tvam dharma sammudha
cheta.
Yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme.
Yat shreyasyanuchitam bruhitam me.
Shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam.
Shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam.
This is again a very, very important shloka. And there are multiple slokas in second chapter which are very important to memorize. This is one of them. So please mark it. Those who are wanting to memorize some shlokas, this is a very, very important one. Anyone who wants to read the translation?
I'll read.
Yeah.
Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for a certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
So the fifth reason Arjuna gives is indecision. He's confused. He cannot decide what is right, what is wrong. That's the fifth reason he gives, which is part of this second chapter. So that makes up the 4 in the first and the fifth one here. And here basically what he's doing is surrendering to Krishna. So it's not that, अरे मैं confused चलो मैं खुद ही कुछ decide करके कर लूँगा, but he's actually trying to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master, Krishna, right? And he's saying, now I am your disciple, a soul surrendered unto you. Please tell me what to do, right? What is best for me? So again, this is a sign of a person who's intelligent and understands that, yes, and Srila Prabhupada writes, the material world is filled with perplexities. Even if we don't want it, at every point in time, there is something which comes up, which basically confuses us and, troubles us. And I think he gives a quite a long purport here. So it's not that we can solve all the problems of life ourselves. Even if you want to do something very, very simple, right? Just for example, I don't know if how many of you would have experienced something like that, but even if you would say, for example, try to plan an outing with your family, right? And there are 3-4 people involved. Just to plan is a big task. And even when you plan it and you actually go for that outing, maybe a lunch or a dinner or maybe a picnic somewhere, right? At the end of it, there'll be some people or the other who are displeased because of something or the other, right? If it's a bigger family, there are more. Yeah, there are so many minds to deal with, right? So a simple situation, maybe just like arranging food for someone at a certain point in time becomes complex sometimes, right? Automatically, without you know uh, uh, some additional thing happening, it automatically becomes complicated. Have any one of you all experienced something like this? कि कुछ simple करने जा रहे थे, but automatically situation became so complex, and now you are in the middle of it trying to deal with it. Anyone experience something like this?
Sir, I have.
Yes.
I mean, Prabhuji, I have.
Yes. Can you describe what was it? If it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a family picnic we had arranged.
Oh.
And we had to pay we had to give prior, in the sense it was a prepaid thing for the lunch and everything at the resort. And after we landed there, they said we had two kids with us, like smaller ones, so they said that you have to pay for the kids also. So just shelling out that little extra buck for the child, they were very unhappy. I mean, the people in the family.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no big deal if you just, overall we need to have a good time and come back. And it is the company and the time spent that matters.
Right.
Because we have gone for that, like a reunion thing of the family.
Yeah. So this is just one example. I think you also gave a similar example. So we plan so many things in life, right? And we think, oh, it's so simple, straightforward. मैं ये करूँगा and this is the result I'll get and I'll be happy, right? Even our own lives. Oh, I'll study. Once I clear 10th exam clear हो गया, बस life is set. Even the parents will say, अरे बस तू 10th clear कर ले अच्छे से, 10th पे अच्छे marks आने चाहिए. And then the next thing starts, 12th में अच्छे marks आने चाहिए, बस अच्छा 12th कर लो. And then, oh, please just get a good, engineering admission or medical admission. You are sorted for life. And then when you get that, oh, just get a good job. And it goes on and on and on. Once you have a good job, oh, get a good wife or a good husband. Even after that, oh, just have kids, you'll be happy. Without kids, there is always fighting. So just have some kids. And when kids, oh, just, unka admission, unka, education and so many other things. So the life goes on and on and on. You struggling from, one point to the next, thinking that the next goal or the next milestone will make me happy, right? And it's so clearly given to us, right? Crystal clear कि ये करोगे तो खुशी मिलेगा. But the experience is completely opposite. And there are so many complications in trying to do those simple things also, right? Oh, I have to study. I want my kid to study. Admission लेना ठीक है, क्या बड़ी बात है? The admission process becomes so complicated. I'm sure a lot of you all must have experienced, right? These days, especially, right? And as we go ahead, things are becoming more and more complicated, right? In some places, drinking water is a situation, right? It's a complicated situation. People are struggling to have good drinking water, right? Because of the corona situation, just breathing air is scary, right? And as Kali Yuga progresses, and in fact, forget Kali Yuga, even otherwise, the nature of the material world is designed in such a way that perplexities will come, right? And to think that, oh, I can solve everything myself is foolishness. Therefore, someone like Arjuna who's very, very intelligent, he's so capable, but still he's not just depending on his ability. He understands the situation and accepts that, yes, I'm confused, I need guidance. And he surrenders to a bona fide spiritual master. That is a sign of real intelligence, and that's where someone can actually receive help and move on. Otherwise, we'll be stuck and we'll be just cribbing, crying. Like I said, BMW, blame, mourn, and weep. Right? Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. Or should we stop here? Actually, it's already 12:40. Maybe 2.8 say we'll take the next time. So we'll stop here. Any questions or any reflection? Anyone wants to share anything? Please do.
Sir, due to Corona, going to temple was a simple condition, but due to Corona, it turned to a complex condition.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Anyone else? Any thoughts or reflections or any questions?
We humans always had this thing that we can lord it over everything, but coronavirus taught us that
अभी
we
सारे
are
कोरोना
not
वाले
that
एग्जाम
powerful. Yeah, we are not that powerful, nor are we that intelligent, because we need to depend on the Lord, and we cannot do as per our whims and fancies, things like that.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. So while we depend on the Lord, yes, we should depend on the Lord. We also need a spiritual master. And just to elaborate on that, so one may say, "Oh, Bhagwan ne Bhagavad Gita de diya. Why do I need a spiritual master? I can just go through, read, understand, and just apply, right? Or why do I need to meet with other people who are also trying to aspire to learn Bhagavad Gita? I can do it myself. Right? This thing may come. So Bhagavad Gita or all the other scriptures, they're giving giving a lot of instructions. They're filled with different kinds of instructions, right? And there are three types of gurus. One is a Path Pradarshak Guru, one who indicates the path. The other is a Shiksha Guru, one who imparts knowledge. The third one is a Diksha Guru, one who initiates you or takes your responsibility to taking you back home, back to Godhead. And then there is the fourth type of Guru, which is Chaitya Guru. Chaitya Guru is nothing but Paramatma in the heart who's also guiding. And actually, the spiritual master, the Diksha Guru, or maybe in some cases the Shiksha Guru, the spiritual master is actually the external manifestation of the Chaitya Guru. Chaitya Guru within the heart is giving a lot of instructions, but we are not listening. So he mercifully manifests himself outside by empowering someone. Okay, you instruct them, or you give them guidance, etc., like that. So that's the external manifestation in the form of a Diksha Guru or a Shiksha Guru, like that. So we need a Guru. Why? Because we need specific instructions. Srila Prabhupada, he was there in Vrindavan along with a few disciples from the United States, and they had just arrived, and Srila Prabhupada was showing them around, Vrindavan kya hai and all of that. And when they entered the temple in the ISKCON temple in Vrindavan, there was some other Western disciples. There was one Western disciple who was chanting very nicely. So just before they saw this person, Prabhupada was describing how it is so important to come to Vrindavan, or how it is so important to live in Vrindavan. And he was instructing these disciples who were with him, you should live in Vrindavan, right? You should not spend all your time in the West, but you should live in Vrindavan. And he was inviting them to come and stay for a longer time, or stay, for a good time, right? And when they walked and the Prabhupada saw this disciple who was chanting very nicely, he said, "Oh, what are you doing here? Go back to the West. You have to preach, right? Go. You should not be in Vrindavan for a long time." Right? So two opposite instructions, isn't it? One where he's talking about you have to be in Vrindavan, you have to live in Vrindavan. And then he saw this person like, you go from here, why are you sitting in Vrindavan? So only a guru who's present can actually guide us very, very specifically. He understands in and out of what we are, what we're going through. And then he gives specific instructions according to that. He understands, okay, these people, they need spiritual recharge. So they should live in Vrindavan, experience, the vibrations of the Holy Land, and then be completely surcharged with the devotional mood and attitude. Whereas the other person he saw, he's already, experiencing bliss by being in Vrindavan. He's tasting the nectar of the holy name. He should go and preach to the people in West and bring them also, right? So knowing and understanding where one is, what is the next roadblock, and giving specific instructions to remove that roadblock is the job of a guru. And that's why we need someone whom we can talk to, someone who's available in terms of being present, not that, my guru is Lord Krishna himself. Yes, he's the Adi Guru, yes. But you need someone now to tell you what is the next step you should take. Someone who's representative of the Lord to tell you what is the next step you should take, because he has given so many instructions in the scriptures. But what is specifically applicable to you right now is something, or what is most urgent for you right now is something that the Guru can guide you. Therefore, the need of Guru. And therefore, in this situation also, Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna, because at that point in time, he's confused. He cannot decipher. Otherwise, Krishna would say, go to Brahaspati, he's the guru of the demigods. Go to Vyasdev, right? They're all bona fide gurus. But who can help him at that point in time? Arjuna says, no, only you can dispel my doubts. We'll see in the further shlokas, he says. Right? Krishna, so this is a dialogue which one of the acharyas is saying, although not present here, but in the mind they're thinking, go to Brahaspati, go to Vyasdev, why are you coming to me? But then Arjuna said, no, only you can dispel my doubts. I'm surrendering to you. So please help me, like that. Yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives, in his commentary, he kind of, adds these kind of dialogues also for us to understand, what was going on in their minds while talking to each other. So very, very interesting one. All right. So thank you for that.
I asked one question.
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with this chapter, but on reading the first chapter, I had a question to ask you.
Yes.
There was something which spoke about the significance of offering food and water to the forefathers, right?
Yes.
Can you just help explain that? What is the significance? How does it relieve?
So there is something called a Shraddha ceremony, right? So Shraddha basically is nothing but offering food to the forefathers. So basically, even I am not a very, very expert in this entire thing, but I'll tell you whatever I understand. So yeah, maybe we can ask someone who's very expert in this. But so all the Pitras, they're there in Pitra Loka. And anyone who's recently died also, we offer immediately, to the crow and stuff like that. So while someone has recently died, it is said that typically they're taken away by Yamdutas to be present in the court of Yamraj, where basically his account is read, and where he needs to go is decided. And that journey is a journey of a few days, which is a very, very painful journey, where the Yamdutas are basically dragging you, beating you. You're not even given food or water at that point in time. So whatever offering is done by the family members at that point in time is received by the soul who's in that journey to the court of Yamaraj. Right? It's said that 14 suns are shining at the same time. That kind of heat is experienced while on the path of that journey. So any food, water, etc. received at that point in time is really, really needed as such. So yeah. And on the other side, so this is one which I know. The other one which I'm also kind of unsure about is, there are pitras in the Pitra Loka, right? If you stop the offerings or oblations, they fall down from their position as well. So I don't know the details of how that happens, but yeah, I at least know this much. So maybe I'll try and ask and get back to you.
No, because that is you do when they die, but then every year subsequently we do Shraddh, right?
Correct.
So that is what I'm trying to correlate is that is at that particular time of death.
So
but then later, year on year, what is the significance like at that time of offering?
So what my understanding is, to maintain themselves in the Pitra Loka, a certain amount of piety is required, right? And not just you, but even your family members. So if you, as say for example, an elder member of the family has not given enough training and samskaras to your children, right, so that they continue on the right path, because it's also a responsibility of a teacher or a guru or a parent to take care of the dependents and give them good instruction and guidance. If they are not following that, which means you have failed as a teacher or a guru, right? Especially in case of family members, because they're living together, right? In earlier days, the Shishya would also go to Gurukul and spend so many years. So whatever actions, the Shishya would do, Guru is responsible. And in fact, it is said in one of the purports, it is said that, the disciple of a bona fide Guru knows everything. Doesn't mean that he knows everything that is available in the world, all knowledge, but he knows everything that is required for him to come back to God, or everything that is required for him to function on a platform of goodness, and also on the platform of bhakti as such, to kind of worship the Lord. So that is the responsibility of a guru, a teacher, a parent, or a husband for that matter also, to take care of the dependents. And therefore we were kind of last time discussing how the kings are also responsible. Remember, we were discussing the overall idea behind the king ruling or administration was to ensure all the subjects are engaged in spiritual activities. Because even the king used to partake, if they commit some sin, even the king would get 1/6 of the reaction.
It's that Santana Dharma you spoke about.
Yeah.
Right?
So even the Pitras, for that matter, if they're just engaged in sinful activities and he's not trained them well, and he's not offering the Shraddha ceremony even that much, right? The Pitras, they lose the credit and fall down. So this is my understanding. Right? I can
Yeah, no.
get back to you.
As per our Prabhuji, as per our Acharya, say Shankaracharya, Chandrasekhara Swami, you are supposed to do it, like we are a Brahmins, we even do Tarpana every Amavasa, Tarpana is done.
Correct.
Because for them, one day is 1 month for us.
Correct.
So that every month we give this Tarpana to them,
Right.
And whichever, birth we have taken in another this thing, whatever we do, it goes and, like today if we are happy, because our people, have done something for us. That's all the happiness is. That's what they say,
Right. And interesting you brought that point. Just reminds me that for a person who's completely surrendered this to Krishna, right? Someone who's fully Krishna conscious, he doesn't, even if he doesn't follow these obligations, right? Like we were reading last time, right? By the dint of his devotional service, all his forefathers, 10 generations, previous 10 generations who are about to come, they are also liberated. Just by his practice or her practice of devotional service, right? So that is the power of devotional service, right? Prahlad Maharaj, his father was a demon, but he was also liberated.
Correct, liberated.
Yeah? So and in fact, Krishna gave a promise that I won't touch anyone in your for so many generations to come. So therefore, Krishna did not kill personally Dhenukasur. He did not kill personally Pralambasur, right? All these were descendants in the line or family of Prahlad Maharaj. So yeah. So a devotee, if he is following devotional service, putting in 100%, he need not even do these things. It's fine. The forefathers are greatly benefited. Even if someone chants, right? Instead, on Tarpan days, on such days, one should just chant extra rounds for the forefathers, and they will be blessing you so much, because they will be elevated even further. chanting Hare Krishna is the topmost, and one can do that activity for the benefit of all people in the family and otherwise also. Even if you go in the park and just chant, the trees, the insects, the grass, everyone is benefited just by your chanting. All right, it's already 12:55. We'll stop here. We'll just conclude with a quick kirtan for 2 minutes, right? I'll just give you. Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare Rama
Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.